see. What's up, guys? Just one second. Okay, so we're gonna wait a second, let because it sometimes takes the notification button to let people know that the show's on. So I'm gonna go grab a Coke real quick, and then by the time I get back, we should be ready to go. Okay, so just bear with me just one second, okay, guys? All right. So basically, what I wanted to do is, now that the season's wrapped up, I just wanted to pop in and talk to you guys because I haven't been on lately with the holidays and stuff. Had some personal family things to deal with as well. It's just been kind of a weird 2 weeks for me, but with everything that's going on, we need to at least wrap up what happened today because now we know exactly who is going to the playoffs. So that's why I held off on doing a post game with Shaq tonight because, or after the Patriots and Bucs game, because I just wanted to see how the rest of the day would play out. But good news for Shaq though, he is in the process of moving, and we're going to have a nice setup for him. Like mine with the green screen and all that, so it'll be very cool. We're looking forward to that, and I hope things are going well for him. This moving sucks, it's a pain in the ass, but definitely worth it in his case. I know he's excited. So okay, so I'll start from the beginning, and if you ever try to do a live show, don't let a baby cat in the room with you. If he knocks one more thing off, I'm going to have to put him in another room. But if you start at the beginning, it says, Jake Saunders, he says, what the heck was this Sunday night game? Okay. The Sunday night game was pretty ridiculous. It was the fact that we have a team, that if they win and they go 7-9, they win a division. Not only do they win the division, they get to go to the playoffs, but not only that, they actually get a home game. Okay? A home game. And that, I think right there, is an embarrassment to sports in general. I think it's an embarrassment to football. It's an embarrassment to the NFL. It's an embarrassment to any professional league anywhere that's competitive. Okay? Now, you guys have heard me talk about this before. I'm willing to compromise If you're desperate to put a team in the playoffs just because they won their division, then fine, okay? But at least don't give them a home game, okay? Don't give them a home game. I mean, you can't do that. That's just the stupidest thing. It just doesn't make any sense. But I don't think they belong there at all. I think once you don't have a winning record, or at least 8-8, by default it goes to the next person. And it just then after that, so after the divisions are set, if you don't have a winning record, if one of those division winners don't have a winning record, then it should now go down to record and the normal tie-breaking procedures, like, record, and then the conference record, and all that kind of stuff, and head-to-head matchups. That's how it should be. That's how it should go. So, did Doug Peterson might be the worst coach in the NFL just for that game? Yeah, I think he's trying to get fired. I know he wants to get out of Philadelphia. He wants to be gone. You don't bench Jalen Hurts if you think that he is a guy who's your future. I don't see the purpose of that. You got to get him a real game start. I'm not a start. I mean a full game that he started. That's just another game that he's got more experience, right? So you can't hit the microphone, Ramses. Stop it. Yeah, that was the last game of the regular season. One. Yeah. Patriot King. What's up, Adam? He says Tom Brady is 43 and can still throw better than I can, and I'm 15. Yeah, Tom is extraordinary, right? I mean, it's really, really impressive what he's doing right now. The main man, Dono. I like your icon there, Kurt Angle. He says the Washington name redacted team won. I know, it's sad. It really is. It's like they're going to think it was some kind of virtuous signal because they won the division due to the fact that they changed the name, or I don't know. It's just, I'm sure they're thinking something like that. Pedro, how's it going, man? Yes, CJ, it is the travesty of sports. Mike Miller says I like Tampa Bay's chances. Well, I'll tell you what. I don't trust Tampa Bay. I don't trust them for anything. I mean, one good thing I saw today was I saw Tom criticizing the plays. Okay, that ain't gonna work. All right. Apologies, guys. I'll be right back. Okay, damn cat hasn't learned that the monitor with the camera on top is not a toy. But anyway, I saw Tom turn around, and it was a throw to the end zone, and it was just a disaster, complete disaster. He turns around, he looks at Bruce Arians and says, "That was a shitty effing play," something like that. And then he turned around, he started selecting plays on his own, and then you could see Bruce Arians following that. So Bruce Arians was watching, looking, following the plays that Tom was selecting. So now, perhaps they've been. I saw some plays that looked familiar to me in New England. They were sometimes they were reversed, flipped, little different, but it's obvious that they have been doing that now lately. So that's a good sign. But you can never tell about Bruce Arians. He's an egomaniac, and once he gets in the playoffs, he might start thinking about credit, and people be whispering in his ear like, if y'all win and you win a playoff game and you go to the Super Bowl, everyone's going to say it's all Tom Brady because you didn't do much, you weren't involved. Bruce Arians feels the pressure to be involved because he's an offensive guy, he's not defense. So don't underestimate the predictability of stupidity and ego. Just don't. So, and the biggest problem for the Tampa Bay playing the Redskins is that they've got a veteran quarterback. So they've got Alex Smith, who the playoffs won't really disrupt him. Had it been the Giants, then maybe there's a shot that Daniel Jones kind of caves. But Alex Smith is not going to cave. He's not going to be messed up by the situation. So you're just going to have to outplay him and hope that you can get to him. And this Tampa Bay team, from what I've saw this year, is they give up too many big plays, too many stupid broken plays. It's just ridiculous. Xavier Bowden, welcome, man. Thank you so much. We got a new member here. Okay, thank you. Josh Norman, moving does suck. I've been through it this like 5 or 6 times. Yeah, I know. Elliot Ravens, he says, we're in the playoffs. Thank you, Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen. Hell yes. What do y'all think about Josh Allen, huh? Raphael, hey, man. Watching your 49ers play today, it's really kind of depressing because what they could have been had they not had all those injuries. It sucks. I feel bad for you, man. As you know, I picked them to go back to the Super Bowl, of course. But when you make picks, you're assuming that there's no injuries. Like, that's a given. If there's injuries, then that throws your prediction all to hell. Nothing you can do about it. Jake Saunders says the Bucs. Yeah, it was a horrible game. Mike Miller, who dat? Chad Johnson. Congrats on y'all's big win today against the Carolina Panthers. I saw that Drew Brees was playing very late in the game, and people were kind of bent out of shape about that. It just makes me think, though, how much of that was getting timing going. Drew missed some games this year, and they don't know if they're going to be missing Kamara. I mean, I don't know if he. I mean, I assume he'll be back, but you never know. Anything could happen. But my immediate thought was that Drew was sticking around, probably to get a rhythm, to get something worked out there and get some more playing time. I was all for Tom getting benched, but then I saw the Falcons coming back, and I was like, damn, that's not good. But also Mike Evans went down, and so now Antonio Brown is going to have to fill Mike Evans' role, which means that Scotty Miller is going to have to fill Antonio Brown's spot, and they were going to need some time to get that worked out. So Week 17, if there's things to work on and you feel like you're not crisp, you're not put together perfectly, I don't really have a problem with that. Neither the Saints or the Bucs are in the situation that the Chiefs are in. The Chiefs already have the number 1 seed locked up. They are not going to miss a beat. Mahomes does not need to build any rapport with anybody. That thing is just clean. Mahomes didn't miss any games, so it makes sense to do that. But all right. Jake Saunders says the Bucs need Shaq Barrett, Devin White, and Carlton Davis back this weekend. Absolutely. Yes, that's what I'm saying. They give up way too many plays. And Alex Smith, a veteran, he's going to be able to exploit that. And don't for a second believe this whole garbage that check down Alex as if it's a negative thing. As if it's a bad thing. Don't pay attention to that. It's complete crap. First of all, when people use that as a negative term, they don't know what it means. In fact, check down, if you are doing a check down, it means that you're trying to make the right decision and you're not just blindly throwing the ball like an idiot. Okay? So, I have been defending Alex Smith since he was in San Francisco. It's the same charge every single year. The team I don't like for Tampa Bay is the Saints. Okay? They didn't just get their ass kicked by the Saints. They got their ass kicked twice. And at different times in the season. So, in the very beginning, and then after, I can't remember what week it was in, but it was way later. So, it's two different types of Tampa Bay teams that got their ass handed to them both times. So, not interested in playing Tampa Bay. I mean, I'm not interested in Tampa Bay playing the Saints with Sean Payton as coach. No, thank you. And now Drew Brees is back. It looks like he's back. Like, back as in there doesn't seem to be any hang-ups there. And they, of course, made sure of that at the end of the game, like I was just talking about. The Eagles are pathetic and a disgrace to the integrity of the game. Yes, the Eagles are. But so is, well, I know you're a Cowboys fan, but so is the NFC East. So, at least the NFC East as far as getting to go into the playoffs. I want you guys to understand something. If the Redskins had lost tonight, the Giants would have been in the playoffs. And had the Giants lost to the Cowboys would have been in the playoffs. That's how close it came to putting a 6-10 team in there. That's, my God. This whole 7th seed thing is just so stupid. And hey, most people would say I should be happy, that Tampa Bay gets to play an NFC East team. Well, no, I'm not happy because it's still bad for the game going forward. Tom Brady's not going to always be in the NFL, so the decision itself is just stupid. So, yeah, Josh, haven't seen you here in a while. Welcome back. John Thomas Chavez, a VAS member, he says, Chase Young just said he's ready for Brady. That could either end up really good or Brady will make him pay for saying that. Yeah. I don't think that this Redskins game, I don't think it's a easy game. People are, to be honest with you, I was hoping it was the Giants. I was like, I think the Giants are an easier team to go against. Even though they didn't win convincingly this season, I don't know. It's just something about the Redskins. They've got an experienced coach. I think Ron Rivera is a good coach. And, of course, like I said, Alex Smith, and they've got Chase Young on the defense. This is not an easy win, guys. So, in fact, you could argue that Seattle might be a better matchup for Tampa Bay over Washington. Because the Tampa Bay offense could keep up with Seattle. But the Redskins are capable of playing a type of game that is a grind out, long, drawn out game where you win, 21-17, that kind of game. And listen, I just, if this was the Patriots, I would know. I would confidently tell you what Belichick would do, how Tom would approach it, all that stuff. But with this idiot as head coach, Bruce Arians, I have no idea what he's capable of. I have no idea how stupid and how far he'll go to screw things up. That's what concerns me there for Tom. Mike Thomas needs to come back with the right attitude. Yeah. And see, that's exactly what I was thinking about with Mike Evans. The last two games, I was thinking, if this dude only has his mind on the getting his record, that's not a good thing. In New England, they wouldn't have cared. Okay, they wouldn't have cared about his record. If he gets it, he gets it. If he doesn't, he doesn't. That's just how it works. We've seen, if you're a Patriots fan, you know that records mean absolute dick. Okay, they don't mean anything if you don't win. So I was a little concerned about that. I was glad they got it out of the way. But I tell you what, I don't think Mike Evans being out is the end of the world. If he meant, I don't know. I actually, funnily enough, I haven't checked on him. I don't know how long he's out or what they're talking about, what's wrong with him, but I've never been a Mike Evans guy, okay? I think he's a good player. I think he's a great player. But I just don't like players that seem to think they're above the team. I don't like guys like that. It's especially for a wide receiver to do that. I understand a quarterback has to lead like that. Quarterback has to take control of things. That's his job. But a wide receiver who acts like that is a little weird. It's the first time they've made the playoffs since they won a Super Bowl in 2002. Right? Something like that. Or no. They haven't won a playoff game since 2002, but they were in the playoffs in 2007, I think. But Mike Evans has never been to a playoff game, and it has a lot to do with his quarterback, so he needs to just chill out. You can see it on his face. You can see that he wants his stuff. He wants it. If it's not going his way, yeah. Jake Saunders says, I think. Oh wait, hang on. Chad Johnson says Thomas will be back for playoffs. That's good for you guys. Bad for fans of any other NFC teams. Jake Saunders says, I think Antonio Brown's officially back. God, he looked good today, didn't he, guys? He even stole a touchdown pass from Scotty Miller. If you saw Tom roll out, he's running, he throws it. If you look at the way Tom threw it, the velocity put on it, everything that he put on that pass, that was going to Scotty Miller. He had no intention of throwing that to Brown. And you could even tell because when Brown goes up to catch, he has to stretch upwards to take it out of the air like that because that was going over. But Brown, he wanted that thing and he took it. I don't care who gets it as long as you get it. But that just shows you that Antonio Brown was hungry for that ball and he just ran a great route too. He ran a route and beat his guy faster than he was supposed to. And that's a wonderful thing. But it also shows that Scotty Miller can get open too because he was wide open. He was wide open in the end zone. That was a touchdown catch no matter who it went to. Crazy Cow says Evans should be okay. It's only a hyperextension. That's great news. Arians Bucs said unless Evans has issues in practice next week, then he should be good to go Sunday for the Redskins. Well, that's good. That's great news for the team, But like I was saying, if he's not in, it's not the end of the world at all. In fact, you could argue that team looked pretty damn good after he went out. So everybody else had to start, it changed things. Sometimes that happens. We've seen that on teams before. John Thomas Chavez says Ron Rivera is as a much smarter coach than Arians and is undefeated against Brady. Yeah, true. Now, one of those Panthers games, yeah, you could argue shouldn't have gone down the way it did, but still, you're right technically. Well, no, yeah, you're right. So, I still have very bitter feelings about the Panthers game in 2013, I think it was. Sunday Night Football. I think it was Sunday Night Football or Monday Night Football. It was a primetime game. Yeah. Luke Kuechly, pass interference on Gronk. Should have put the ball at the 1. That was some bullshit. New member Xavier says, check down Alex will legit kill you 4 yards at a time and just wear you out. Exactly. People, man, I've noticed that football fans think so one-dimensional. They think that quarterback is about everything about playing is flash. Everything is flash. It's weird how simplistic they think it. It's just. Hey, the red coat is awake. Oh shit, yeah, it's 7:23 here in the morning. The red coat, he sends a 5-pound super chat. He says, poor Scotty, what an amazing mid-air steal. I know. But hey, what that showed us, that in that one play, Jason, showed us that not only is Antonio in the zone, but they've got other guys who can make plays. Because that was a touchdown. Like I said, it was a touchdown either way. So. Let's see here. Pusher371 says, I wonder how much of Winston's knowledge of Arians' system has to do with Bucs being demolished by the Saints. Well, a lot. Because Arians is not the type of coach who will update things, change things, stuff like that. So, yeah, that's why I'm always going after him. So, he's just not a good coach. He doesn't make good adjustments. I don't even think he knows what an adjustment is. So. F your opinion says check down Alex. Says nothing on check down Eli. He'll make sure his running back runs at least half an inch before throwing the ball. It's true. That's funny. I kind of miss Eli a little bit. I don't know about you guys, but you have to admit it would be hilarious to see the Giants in the playoffs right now with Eli Manning at quarterback. That would be funny. It would just be the perfect. It would be the perfect cap off to 2020. Eli Manning gets the Giants to the playoffs at 6-10. That would be the most Eli Manning thing ever, would it not? Come on. I know you guys hate him, but that would be funny if you could see the humor in it, I guess. Mike Miller says, I think the Saints and Packers are going to fall off in the playoffs. I don't think the Packers are a Super Bowl team. I don't. And that's nothing against Aaron Rodgers or anything like that. It's just, I don't know. There's something strange about them. I think the best team in the NFC right now is the Saints. So I think it's pretty clear. What do you guys think? Purposely tanking just shows no integrity like the Jets. So here's the thing about the Jets, guys. So you guys remember a few weeks back that I was accusing them of tanking. I think we all were. they got investigated by the NFL. So the NFL went in. We don't know what exactly was said, but I do know that the NFL did look into it. And after that, they won a game. Winning that game screwed them over because it gave Jacksonville a chance to move into position for Trevor Lawrence. And after that point, it was, Jacksonville was like, hey, we're not going to win a game. We're not even going to come close to winning a game. That's not going to happen. Well, now that that's happened, because I believe that the NFL went after Gase. I think they went after Gase, and he did that so he doesn't get in trouble or whatever, or he gets suspended next year or something like that. Whatever they might have said to him. And now he's getting fired because they didn't get Trevor Lawrence. It's a big shit show. The New York Jets are the most... God. That is integrity. You want to talk about integrity of the game, okay? They say integrity of the game. They did that during Deflategate and Spygate and Bountygate and all that crap. Integrity of the game. The integrity of the game matters and all this stuff. Really? The entire Jets organization should be docked a first-round pick as far as I'm concerned. We've seen the Jets play when they want to play. We know they can play. Mike Miller says, is Trevor Lawrence still the number one pick? Oh, yeah. Killa Common 94. Okay, interesting. He says it's a better matchup for the Bucs defense more than going up against the Giants offense. I'm not so sure about that, but Ryan Dyer says it'll be like the Pats-Jags AFC Championship game. John Thomas Chavez, a member, he says Chase Young plays like a veteran. I know, right? He's been a beast this year, and against the Tampa O-line that's made a good number of mistakes this year. Chase and that entire Washington D-line could harass Brady all day. That's the truth. Another 5-pound super chat from the Redcoat. He says, breaking news, Jets fire Adam Gase. Come on, what the fuck is breaking news about that? Yes. I'm surprised it took this long. I thought for sure while he was walking off the field, they'd be giving him his papers saying, yeah, you don't even need to do an interview. Just leave. Just go. That, my friends, is what's called a scapegoat. He's the second scapegoat for the Jets organization. The first one, of course, was the defensive coordinator. Jake says this is going to be a game where Tampa is going to win if they get 30 points, but Washington can get them if Tampa doesn't score 30. Yeah. Yeah, Washington won't be able to keep up points-wise, but if their defense can cause problems for Tampa Bay, that's how they can win. But have we seen anything this year with that Bucs team that we can say, yeah, they're going to win? It's definite. It's guaranteed. I remember when we as in the Patriots, would go into a playoff game. I knew we were going to win. I just knew. Recent games like that come to mind. Chargers in 18. I knew we were going to win that game. I didn't know we were going to kill them, but I knew we were going to win. I knew we were going to beat Tennessee in 2017. I felt good about that one. So there's just certain games that the matchup there is useful for a certain type of style. But I don't trust the Bucs. There's nothing I've seen for the Bucs I'd trust about anything. One week they're beating the Green Bay Packers, and the next week they're losing to the Rams. That just shouldn't have happened. So. He has a hyperextended knee. We'll be back. Okay. How about them Browns? Yes. Where's Eddie? Where the hell is Eddie? Mike Miller says Bucs win easy Saturday. I hope so. I really hope so. But like I said, with this team, I don't. If they had any other coach besides Bruce Arians, I would say it's probably. But Gates is gone after the press conference. How would I feel if Bill Belichick hired Adam Gase to do what? Quarterbacks coach, maybe, or something. I don't. I don't. I have nothing against Adam Gase as a coordinator, actually. Um, so not really a. I don't. I don't have. Listen, the biggest knock on Adam Gase is that he was the head coach of the New York Jets. Please explain to me, outside of Rex Ryan, who has done anything in that organization in the last 15 years. Sometimes people are better coordinators and position coaches than they are head coaches. There's like a big difference. For example, you don't want Wade Phillips to be your head coach. But if you can get him as your defensive coordinator, you take him. You pay that man and you get him. Same thing with Rex Ryan. Great defensive coordinator. You don't want him as your head coach. Not unless it's a situation where everything is in place. For example, the Bucs. I think the Bucs would be a good spot for Rex Ryan because he would let Tom do what Tom wants to do, and Rex would make sure that defense is much better than it should be, better than it is. So, but yeah, Adam Gase still has use as far as a position coach goes, or a coordinator somewhere. But I just don't see where he fits with us, really. Adam Gase likes to coach pocket passers. You know, Peyton Manning types and Tom Brady types and stuff like that. I don't know what's going on with Cam Newton, if they're trying to keep him or what. I don't know why Cam Newton played today. And not because of anything against Cam. I just don't understand why Bill didn't try to see what would happen with Jarrett Stidham if he started. So, a lot of questions there, right? I'm almost starting to think that when Bill signed Cam, he got Cam to sign for so little by guaranteeing him that he would get to start the whole year. I think that was the deal. I think that was an agreement that was made. Because I have never seen Bill act the way he's been acting. He has been fiercely loyal to Cam, even against Bill's own judgment and wisdom that he shows. The Bill we know would have played Stidham today, not because of a bad Cam, but because you want to see what you've got with Jarrett. So that's kind of bizarre, I thought. The Saints haven't proven anything. They have a losing record against playoff teams and have been beating up on bad teams, just like the team that gets blasted for it. I tell you what, you could say that about a lot of teams, actually. Right now, in the VAS formula, and I know that's not standard, but I do put a lot of we put a lot of work into it, and we go on a 4 week rating system. So the theory is that when you, let's say Aaron Rodgers is about to play the Rams or whatever, okay? Let's say they're about to play the Rams, and they're playing Rams in week 12. Well, what the Rams defense did in weeks 1 through 5 are somewhat irrelevant to the Rams that are week 12. If the Rams in week 12 are much different or performing much different than the Rams from weeks 1 through 5. So it's a rolling system, kind of like, I don't know if you guys follow tennis, but tennis does this. It's a rolling rankings. It's an annual ranking. So when a tennis player gets points for, let's say, Wimbledon, and then he gets to keep those points for a whole year, but then when he plays in Wimbledon again, he loses the points from the Wimbledon previous. So it's always moving, consistently going. And what this system does is it moves. Now, this is only for opponent, strength of opponent. But what this does is it uses that system, but a 4-week system. Not 4 games, but 4 weeks. So it could be 3 games and 1 bye, depending on if that team had the bye week. But it's a 4-week system. And when you apply that quarterback is playing, you know that team is on a roll. Either they're very bad now or they're very good now. You could be playing them when they're 4-0 in the last 4 games, or you could be playing them when they're 0-4 in the last 4 games. And that makes a big difference. When you apply that to Aaron Rodgers, he has faced the worst teams, the worst winning percentage teams in the league when all of it is averaged out and put together. Not only that, he has played the teams that give up the most points total. The only point about that is to say that there's so many variables, so many things involved with trying to figure out if a team is legit or not legit. It's a weird thing. You've got, for example, you got the Bucs who beat the Green Bay Packers. You got the Packers who beat the Saints. You've got the Saints who destroyed the Bucs. What does that mean? You see, it's a weird thing, that because it's about matchups. Record is not as important as the matchup. You saw the Giants give the Bucs problems. But you saw another team that couldn't even touch them. So, or let's look at the Atlanta Falcons, for example. They ended the year, 4-12? We all know that the Atlanta Falcons are a more of a quality team than 4-12. I mean, we kind of know that. If they had a decent coach come in next year, they're going to be a pretty good team, I think. Both times that the Bucs had to play the Falcons, it wasn't easy. It was, Matt Ryan had those guys playing very well. So whether they had a bad record or not, the Bucs players, the Bucs team, they don't know that. They don't care about the standings. They know that they were in a difficult game. They knew they were in a close game. So I'm not sure I buy into the Saints hasn't played anybody kind of thing. I think it's about who you match up with. And not all the rest of that makes no difference. I don't think the Kansas City Chiefs want to see the Buffalo Bills. I know that. But I think they could probably, let's see. No, I know they will run over anybody else. The only threat to the Chiefs going to the Super Bowl is the Bills. That's it. But we've not seen Buffalo do anything yet. So regular season's nice. It's great. It's exciting that the Bills seem to be doing good, but they need to prove it. So the Chiefs have proven it. So we know what we're getting basically there. By the way, Tom hit 40 touchdowns at 43 years old. Can you believe that? That's the second most he's had in his career since the. Actually, isn't that the second time he's only the second time he's went 40? Well, '07 he had 50. But to do that at 43 years old is just freaking ridiculous. It's crazy. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but I don't think next year is Tom's last year. Yeah, apologies. Cobra King, Gabe. I think that's Gabe. Gabe, is that you? Cobra King? You got a different icon. Okay. He says Brady will probably get 600 touchdowns. Brady will be the first quarterback to ever throw 600 touchdowns. That would be freaking awesome. Josh Norman says, I bet since Urban Meyer is head coach of the Jags, he would draft Justin Fields #1 overall because they are both from Ohio State. Crazy Cow said, did someone spike Bill's punch with ecstasy? No. I think it was just a bad deal made with, well, not a bad deal, but it was just a deal made with Cam. How else do you get Cam to agree to that? If Cam would have held on, he could have signed as a backup somewhere, or a starter, because of the several injuries that happened this season, and he could have gotten more than $1 million. So I have to believe, to get him to do that, Bill probably made a promise to him, a guarantee that he would be the starter. Because if you notice, no matter what happened this year, no matter how bad it got, Bill would stick to Cam as if he was Tom Brady. You know, it was crazy. So I think that's the deal. And I think Bill kept his word. So. Cold Blue Water says something interesting. He says, Brady is ahead by 9 touchdowns over Breeze. Looks like Breeze is done after this Sunday. Or after this run, I'm sorry. You guys think Drew's done? I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, it looks like it's possible. You know what? I think it depends on what happens. If they can get to the Super Bowl or win it, if they win it, he's done. He's done. He'll quit. He'll just quit. He'll go out like that on top. But if they don't quite get there again, he might think about coming back again. I know, man. Next year is going to be amazing. Patriots versus Bucs. My God, is that going to be a game? Who, you guys want to make a bet right now? It will be one of the, I bet it'll be one of the top 5 highest rated games in NFL history. That's not, a playoff game or whatever. But it will be, if not the highest rated regular season game, it will be one of the record. It'd be close. Top 5. A guaranteed top 5. So write that down. Remember it so we don't forget. But I'm saying it right now. Patriots versus Bucs will be one of the most watched games in NFL history for the regular season. I wrote on Twitter today, I said, after Brady's game, I said, if Tom Brady has gone off the cliff, then I'm going to find a mountain and jump off of it. So I don't know about you guys, but I would like to get me some of that cliff. I'd like to get me some of that decline. I'd like to know what that feels like. So. Oh, the red coat says Tom told the announcers in pregame that he wants to play 2 more years after this one. Hell yes. Watch this shit. You know, you want to really piss off the league? Okay, this is how you piss off the league. You have Belichick offer the Jaguars like their next 3 first round and second round picks for Trevor Lawrence. Okay? So, as you guys well know, I am not a fan of putting all your eggs in one basket for a rookie. Okay? But this isn't about whether it would work or not. It's just about it would piss off the NFL. So, Belichick gets rid of those picks because we all know Belichick's first rounders are shit anyways if he has to go after an offensive player. Might as well. We also know that most of Belichick's teams are made up of late round picks and free agents. But if he can get a star quarterback, let's say Trevor Lawrence is going to be a star quarterback. If you can even get a Josh Allen production level out of him, then for Belichick, that's a big deal. But could you imagine the NFL loses their minds that would occur, and then Brady's on the other side? And then a year goes by, let's say year goes by after that, and Belichick gives the team to Josh McDaniels, which we know is going to happen eventually. And Belichick signs up down in Tampa Bay. Heads explode all over the NFL landscape. Again, just for record, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just, for humor, I'm saying that would really, really drive everyone nuts. Christian Harper. Oh, I love that. He says Brady is a system quarterback. All right. It's true. He is the system. Nefertiti says, cross my fingers, Gabe. He'll get it. Man, I was worried that the Browns were going to lose that game. I was like, oh crap, here we go. So Steelers score a touchdown. All they need to do is get the 2-point conversion and they tie it. And I was like, God, I hope Addy is not losing his mind right now. Where's Addy been? I'm surprised he's not wanting to celebrate. Remember, John Thomas Chavez says, how about those ESPN announcers telling Bill how to coach last Monday? Oh, I know, yeah. I was like, sure. I mean, we can have our opinions and stuff, but at the end of the day, it's like, there's got to be a reason for it. Like, today, I believe that strategically, I would think that you would want to see what Stidham's about. Give him a full start, meaning a whole week of preparation, and then let him start. But he didn't do that, so I thought there's got to be another reason. Belichick doesn't do things for no reason. So I think he made a deal with Cam and told him, and he kept his promise. I think that's what happened. Gabe says, to be honest, I can never respect a guy like Aaron Rodgers. He's extremely cocky, full of himself. Granted, he's really good, but look at his stats. A lot of his games, he doesn't pass 250 yards, but has 5 touchdowns. That's the definition of stat padding. Aaron Rodgers, this is the knock I've had on him for a while. I don't know if you can call it a knock or whatever, but you guys know from past videos and stuff that I've pointed it out. But he is very mindful of his averages, of his ratios. He's very mindful of How many touchdowns do I have versus interceptions? I don't want to throw that ball in there because it could be picked. You know, I think that's something that we've all seen, and I think it's an extreme one way. I don't like extremes at all, so I don't like extreme the other way. So you've got the other extreme like Brett Favre, who throws everything every time, no matter what. So he thinks he can make every throw. There's sometimes you got to just throw it away. There's sometimes where you just say, listen, this play is screwed. It's over. All right. But then you got the other end of that where you won't take the risk. And that was something that I've seen cost Aaron in playoff games, actually, is that he wouldn't take the risk. He thought he had to see, they thought they had the Seahawks beat in 2014. They weren't up by that much, but they thought they had them beat. And they took no risk at all. That's when you would want to take a risk. So I'm not sure that not sure about that, because another thing that Gabe is talking about here is recently Aaron was talking about how he should have won the MVP in certain years, and that he thinks he's done enough to win the MVP this year. I honestly can't recall, and maybe it happened, but I cannot recall a quarterback that famous talking about MVPs he should have won. That's kind of strange to me. Maybe they have, and I'm just not aware of it. But I think that's strange to be even thinking about that. It's nice to win it. But let's not forget that no MVP has won the Super Bowl since Kurt Warner. So it's been 21 years. 21 freaking years. Some of you guys weren't even alive the last time a quarterback won the MVP and won the Super Bowl. And since then, the quarterbacks who did win the MVP, if they did go to the Super Bowl, of course they would lose in the weirdest, strangest ways. It's so bizarre. Peyton Manning, he sets the record for statistically the best season, or people say it's statistically the best season. I think that you have to give context to those things, like winning. But I think Tom Brady Tom Brady's 07 season is the best season by a quarterback, because his stats, his record breaking, ended up in a 16-0 season. So I don't think you can beat that, really. But anyway, the point is that Peyton had a great year. He threw for 56 touchdowns. But he gets to the Super Bowl, and the first snap goes over his head, and they just get completely beat down. Brady wins MVP in 07. We all know how that ended. Eli Manning escapes the sack, throws for a first down to David Tyree, and then they hit Plaxico Burress in the end zone. This was after Tom and Randy Moss put the Patriots up for the lead. The way they lose these games. Kurt Warner wins the MVP 2001. By all rights, like everyone thought, the Rams should have destroyed New England, but we pulled it out miraculously at the end. Kurt Warner even throws an uncharacteristic pick six in that game. Matt Ryan's the MVP. Completely crumbles in the Super Bowl. It's just, I don't know, guys. It's starting to sound like a curse. Tom Brady won the MVP in 2017. Plays the Eagles, throws for 505 yards, no interceptions, still loses. Something's up with that. And you would think it wouldn't be like that. I mean, you would think that if you've got the MVP on your team, that's going to increase your odds, and if you get to the Super Bowl, you're probably good to go. But damn. Now, as far as a rooting interest, I would like to see the Bills make it to the Super Bowl or the Browns, either one of those teams. So I, I I've got to see Addy's reaction to him watching his team make it to the Super Bowl. Actually, you guys understand that Addy's pretty young. He's like 20, I think, 21, something like that. The last time his Browns were in a playoff game was 02. So Addy couldn't even remember that. So this is literally the first time he's ever going to experience what the playoffs are like. Pretty crazy. Imagine that. Imagine being a fan of a team and you've lived 20 years of your life and you've never seen your team in the playoffs. That's bizarre. I made a post on Facebook, the Facebook group, a few weeks back, and I was taking bets for the Chiefs. So there was something that I saw in the Chiefs that I didn't like. Something that I saw that was a problem. It's the same thing that I saw last year with the Ravens. If you guys remember, I kept saying that the Ravens are going to run into a stout team and a team that can take them out. And it all came from when the Patriots played the Ravens last year in Baltimore. I didn't like what I saw out of Baltimore. There were some things that could be exposed. And then in the second half came back out, and Belichick had changed up quite a bit of things and kind of kept Lamar Jackson in check to a certain extent. But you could see he was experimenting with some things. And I thought anybody who catches on to that and has the personnel to exploit it is going to get them. And lo and behold, it was the Tennessee Titans. Mike Vrabel, a former Patriots player. And he had the personnel to do it. And it worked. And it's just you could see that they caught on to it. But there's these little subtleties here is what I saw in Kansas City. And this is not me hating on Kansas City. It's not like that. It's just the truth. These high-flying offenses that rely on so much offense constantly and broken plays and things like that, it eventually comes to bite you in the ass. Eventually, you're going to run into a team that can suppress that can neutralize you in that aspect. And just like the Baltimore Ravens ran into that one team, I think the Titans were the only team in the AFC that were capable of stopping the Ravens. The Ravens go to the Super Bowl, I believe. I think the Ravens go to the Super Bowl if the Titans did not play them. So that's kind of situation. And I think the Bills right now are that team. They're that team that can really be a problem for the Kansas City Chiefs. Alex Jester, okay, basically said exactly what I'm talking about. He said, I actually think the Chiefs are vulnerable, and here's why. They aren't effective when they don't get their big plays. They can't continue long scoring drives. Exactly. So they rely on and I know the red coat, if you're listening, if you're on your way to work, I know the red coat hates this. He hates this. This is all he talks about when the Chiefs are playing. Broken plays. Random, stupid, broken plays. Now, that happens against defenses that cannot maintain the play and coverage for longer than 5 to 7 seconds, which I know is a very long time, and it's a lot to ask. But if you got a defense that can do that, or Actually, if they can get to the quarterback to where he really can't get out, then you've also, obviously that's goes without saying really, but it could be a long day for Kansas City against Buffalo. Why was Malcolm Butler benched? That's the great mystery, isn't it? Who built the pyramids? What happened to Elvis Presley? Who shot JFK? Why was Malcolm Butler benched? We'll probably find out when Belichick writes his memoirs in about 10 years. Yeah, I'm happy for the Bills fans. I as a Pets fan, I don't hate the Bills. I have nothing against them. I sure as hell don't like the Dolphins and the Jets, but the Bills have never really bothered me that much. It's actually it's funny. In the '90s, when the Bills were going to all those Super Bowls, all four straight, I was going for Buffalo. And that's a circumstance thing. I'm one of those type of people that if my favorite team can't go, and during that time when the Bills were going to those four Super Bowls, my favorite teams, or I like the Patriots, but I really love the Oilers. But both those teams were AFC. And if my team can't go to the Super Bowl, I usually root for the AFC representative because they represent our conference. And it's good. It's a good look to to say that your conference is the winner. You know, it's just I've always felt like that was kind of where your loyalty should be. There's been a few exceptions where I've gone against that. In fact, I went against that last year recently because Jimmy Garoppolo was playing for the 49ers. So I wanted Jimmy to get a Lombardi on his own. I wanted him to get his own ring. So, but normally that's what I do. So I was going for Buffalo in the '90s, and that was even after they had beaten the Oilers in the largest comeback deficit in history. And that killed me when I was a kid. I think I was like 11 or 12 at the time, and that sucked. But I still went for Buffalo against Dallas. And I wasn't a Dallas hater. It was nothing like that. It was just strictly because of conference. So it's kind of strange that it's just, for whatever reason, the Bills I've not had anything against them. Oh, yeah. I agree. It wasn't Matt. No, you're right. Let me correct that. Matt Ryan, it wasn't him. It wasn't his fault, okay, for the collapse. I'm just saying that something weird happened, like it wasn't Brady's fault that the Eli Manning drive. That's not Tom's fault. Tom did his job. But I was just saying that it seems to be a curse. Like something weird always happens. Something strange always ends up happening. But if I had said that it was Matt's fault, I didn't mean that. It was just probably, yeah. I meant in general something bad happened to the team. So. Belichick's record. John Daly. Interesting name, John Daly. Belichick's record without Brady is 56-67. Does that make him the greatest of all time? Well, that doesn't. Not that on its own doesn't. But It's hard to argue with 6 Super Bowls, 9 Super Bowl appearances, and 2 rings. I know people don't count it, but 2 rings as a coordinator. Another Super Bowl appearance as a coordinator. So let's see. The dude has 12 championship rings. The guy has coached in 12 Super Bowls as a coordinator or head coach. That's insane. Freaking insane. The greatest coach of all time thing is a little more difficult than the quarterback, the goats of quarterbacks, because when you talk about greatest head coaches of all time, you also have to factor in with them because there's no statistics other than record. You have to factor in legacy, influence on the game. What did they do? Did they invent things? Did they create things out of nothing? And so then you've got arguments for guys like Bill Walsh, who created something that had never existed. It's just something out of thin air. You've got Paul Brown, who is basically single-handedly responsible for everything that we see. So he's the guy that made the NFL and made, if you're going to look in history and look and say, where was the transition? Where was the change from the old NFL to the way it was, where it's barely recognizable, to what it is today? Where did that take place? And you would have to say Paul Brown is probably the guy responsible for that. So you have to add that into his legacy there, and if you're trying to figure out who the greatest of all time is. Of course, you got guys like Vince Lombardi as well. And his legacy, of course, is the ridiculous amount of winning that they did and the dominance. But at the end of the day, I mean, if you were going to pick the greatest coach of all time, I think Bill Walsh has to be in there. And just because what he invented spawned 4 Super Bowls. I know that he didn't coach the 4th Montana Super Bowl, but it was the same thing. Like, you know. That's going to be a fun thing to explore, is basically what I'm saying here. So Christian Harper says, don't forget about Cam. He was MVP and lost the Super Bowl. Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah. And weird thing is that, you know, Cam didn't jump on that fumble. And when he didn't jump on that fumble, the Carolina Panthers were still in a winnable position. That's what's so maddening about it. It's not like they were getting killed and he didn't want to jump on the fumble. The game was still there. It was still there to be won. So. Addy, some random Patriots fan says, Addy was baby Addy. Yeah. Elliot Ray Lewis says, I will always say that Brady's 07 is better than Manning's 13th season. When Brady lost the Super Bowl, he put up an actual fight, whereas Manning was a lost cause from the very first snap of the game. There's a lot of arguments that say that you could point to that Brady's 07 season is a better quarterback. It's the greatest quarterback season of all time. And perhaps I should do a video on that, proving that point. It's weird how these comments are scrolling through. I think I'm getting caught up, and then all of a sudden I'm back by like 10 minutes or something. Yeah, he did jump on that fumble for us. I made a big deal about that too. Oh, a good point. Or thanks for bringing that up. Jalen says he still says that Joe Gibbs is the greatest coach. Dude, there's a good argument for Joe Gibbs, and that's another guy that we need to consider, because Joe Gibbs won 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks. And we're not talking about legendary quarterbacks here. We're not talking about like phenomenal, amazing quarterbacks like all the other guys usually had. So it's impressive what Joe Gibbs did. Absolutely. Joe Gibbs, he was the head coach of the Redskins in the 80s. Coached all those Super Bowl Redskins teams. He retired probably before a lot of you guys remember watching. I think he stopped. Jalen, you probably know this, but Gibbs, I think he retired in '08, right? Somewhere around there. Thoughts about the college football championship? I'm a huge Ohio State fan. Wait, you're not Gabe? Gabe's a dude. His name is Cobra King too. Okay. Sorry, I've been calling you this the whole time. Yeah, there's another guy with the name Cobra King called Gabe. Named Gabe. So, and he is a Miami fan. So. Yeah, Jalen, I agree with you as far as GM. There's a lot of things that I leave me scratching my head that Bill does in the general management area. So, yep, John Belichick is the last coach to win a playoff game for the Browns, 1994, against Parcells Patriots. That's right. Funnily enough. Yeah, there's a lot of coaches who falter in their first go around, and they really get it figured out in the second time. But I think what we've really learned about Belichick's tenure in Cleveland versus New England is that you need a quarterback. You need a great quarterback. Unless you're Joe Gibbs, you need a great quarterback. Without him, then all of your scheming, all your plotting, all your plans don't mean much if you ain't got a guy who can't execute those plans. So you're kind of screwed. If Joe Montana couldn't run Bill Walsh's offense exactly, mathematically, precisely how Walsh wants it, then you've got nothing. You've got to have those. You've got to have the marriage of a good coach, good quarterback. You've got to have those two together. Almost always. There's exceptions, sometimes there's anomalies, but they don't happen enough to expect somebody to do something without one or the other. So right now, I think that's going to be the death of Tom Brady's Bucs this year. Is a bad head coach. I think that is going to end their run. It's going to be the number one reason is bad coaching. You need both. You need the quarterback and the coach. Chip Kelly. Yeah. Right now, I would trade, for Tom's sake, I would trade Mike Evans and Bruce Arians and, hell, throw in a first round pick for Sean Payton right now. That is how much I believe coaching is relevant and important. See it twice. Daniel, exactly. Bruce Arians is the only coach I've heard brag that he won a Super Bowl as a coordinator. That, again, that's a bizarre thing to say. Very bizarre. And he said I. He didn't even say we. He goes, well, I won a Super Bowl as coordinator, and then you did? I thought the Steelers did. I never heard coordinators say I've just never heard that before. That's weird. Christian Harper asks, you not a Bruce Arians fan, Aaron? Okay. No. No. Nope. I am not a Bruce Arians fan. Luke says, I know you don't really like Evans. I feel differently. Um, it's a character thing for me. It's a team thing, and I don't know. I pay attention to little weird things sometimes, like when a team scores a touchdown. I'll look at the other players' reactions. I look at their demeanor and how they react to their own plays if they don't get the ball, if a play messes up, or if they're not getting their way on the sidelines. I mean, I look at a lot of that, and it's never favorable in Mike Evans' situation. It's never favorable for him when that happens. He always comes across as um, a bit of a me guy kind of thing. So like I said, I think he's a great player, but I'm just not his biggest supporter. So, but I hope he can help Tom get a Super Bowl. That'd be awesome. So now I don't hate Mike Evans or anything. I do hate Bruce Arians. There's a big difference. So what I think about Mike Evans is just kind of uh, it's like a vibe, a feeling kind of thing. But with Bruce Arians, it's legit. Like I legitimately cannot stand him. So there's no comparison. But when I said that, if you're responding to me saying I would trade Mike Evans for with Bruce Arians for Sean Payton, that really wasn't as much about Mike Evans as it was about Sean Payton, trying to give value, because I don't think the Saints would take anything less than a Mike Evans. But at the same time, I think if you get Sean Payton, then you can give up Mike Evans. You could take the hit. So that's why I said that. It wasn't really against Mike in particular. It was just kind of the deal there. So listen, man, Tom had to have known, right? Like when he picked Tampa Bay, he had to have known that about Bruce Arians. I mean, so obviously Tom knew what he was doing. You would think so. $5 super chat from See It Twice. He says, to Aaron, Bruce Arians is the Jets jersey of coaches. Yes. That's true. That's true. Very true. Very, very true. Yeah, some random Patriots fan is a good point here. Todd Bowles puts Carlton Davis one on one with Tyreek Hill. Bucs lose. Media says it's Brady's fault. Gotta love that, right? Got to love that. Exactly, Luke. It's hard to know for sure. I don't have any hard evidence. I don't have any insight or anything or to prove that Mike Evans is not a team guy or um, not a me guy kind of thing. I don't know that for sure. This is just my suspicion. This is me. This is a gut feeling. It's not exactly scientific. So I wouldn't. I certainly wouldn't make a video about my theory of Mike Evans because that would just be stupid. I have no reason to actually back it up. It's just a vibe. It's a feeling I get from him and observation. So yeah, it looks like Jim Harbaugh is better suited for the NFL. I think his style of coaching, the anger, the temperament, all that. I don't think college kids can handle it probably as much as NFL players. But even these new NFL kids, they're big pussies too. I mean, it's amazing. So who knows? I mean, if I was Jim Harbaugh, I never would have left an NFL job for a college job. That wouldn't really. I mean, what he was paid a little bit more money, and it was his alma mater, I guess. So maybe there's a personal thing there, but for me, I would want to win the Super Bowl. So, I mean, he didn't have to coach in San Francisco. Somebody else could have hired him. Somebody else would have hired him. So. Feelings. Yeah, random Patriots fan, feelings, but facts don't care about your feelings. It's true. That's exact. That's exactly why I said I would never make a video about it because my feelings aren't evidence. My feelings is not reality. It doesn't make it real. It's just a feeling. So you can't take your feelings and then try to make a credible argument and an official accusation. So can't do that. Now, if I had some real evidence, then I would. But I can't think of a time where I could say that like there are other players where you can pinpoint. You're like, okay, this dude, look how he acted, look what he said, look what he did. Then you could point to it, but nothing like that for Mike that I know of. But anyway, you guys get the idea. Yeah, Tyrus, I'm sure that Brady is going to have a good influence on these guys quite a bit. I mean, also, it's true. Maybe I should give Mike a break. He has been on a garbage in a garbage organization for his whole career, so that's all he knows. That's all he thinks about. That's his outlook for the NFL. It's not like he was drafted to the Patriots, where you're brainwashed in minicamp. So, Brian Magdum, do I think the Bucs can win the Super Bowl? Do I think they can? Yes, I think they can. But they won't because of their head coach. If Bruce Arians kept his ego out of it and just did what he needed to do, if he even just did what us as fans would do, which is, okay, just manage the team, do all the little things you're supposed to do as head coach, let Brady and the offense do their thing. You could even be involved some, but just don't force things. If they do that, I think they've got a good chance. So, what would I do if I encountered Arians in a grocery store? I would do like the guy in Seven. I would kidnap him. I would buy a bunch of spaghetti in a can, and force feed him spaghetti. Just make sure he can't get to the stadium. No, for real, if I really did run into Bruce Arians, I would tell him exactly what I say to you guys. I'd tell him, let Tom take over, dude. Luke, if he's a Coke fan like me, he should probably stop drinking it. So. Yeah. Yeah, Daniel. Daniel. I'd go Mike Montana on him. Absolutely. Might even kidnap his grandchildren like Mike Montana, right? Redcoat says, well, if the Bucs win the first round, I think they're off to the Packers in the second, so will be interesting. Well, they did beat the Packers before. It seems like a matchup that works for them. But it will be in Green Bay, and I don't know if you guys noticed, but that Tampa Bay team is a lot different when they're on the road. Seems like they don't travel well. And that right there is a head coaching decision. That traveling well for a team is a head coach. You make sure that everything is done. You make sure that the guys, their mindset is correct. You make sure that they're prepared. They're doing things the right way. And that's really where a head coach can shine or screw the team over, is when you're traveling. So. But Aaron Rodgers seems to struggle in the playoffs quite a bit when he runs into a team that actually knows what they're doing. So we'll find out. Yeah, I just don't like the loss to the Bears. Let's see. Who else did they lose to on the road? Saints. Yeah, that wasn't very good either. Who belongs in the Hall of Fame? Oh, Patrick. You talking about Patrick Willis? Yes, traveling to Green Bay sucks. Eli Manning did it twice. Not bad. No, not referring to the record as much as I'm referring to how sloppy they play. What's my go-to food for playoff football? Big Mac from McDonald's, or quarter pounder from McDonald's, or Domino's Pizza. Very bad for you. So if I'm in Arkansas, I ask for different things, but depends on where I'm at. Here, that's all I can get my hands on. Uh, American food is hard to come by here, so. Okay, so we have some things planned for the playoffs. The scheduling is going to be a bit different this for the rest of the time, all the way through to the Super Bowl. Um, and I'm gonna release a schedule of sorts. This kind of gives you an idea of what I would like to do. We're gonna have some video chats like this, but exclusive for members only. So if you want to be involved in that, sign up for the membership here on the YouTube. It should be right under the video right now, and you can select the membership. So whichever one you select will get you into that. But also we'll have our normal ones like we're doing right now, and I'll schedule that. But the days are going to be different because of Saturday games. So normally our show was always on Saturday night, but we're going to alter that. Not just that, but some other things planned as well. And like I said, I'll release a schedule. And me and the Red Coat, we are going to introduce you to the final formula that we have for the MVP. And remember, guys, our MVP goes all the way through to the Super Bowl. So a quarterback can earn VAS points all the way through to the Super Bowl. And the reason that is because the NFL league year doesn't end in week 17 of the regular season. An MVP is a guy who takes his team as far as he can. Now, it doesn't mean that to be MVP you have to win the Super Bowl. That's not what that means. It just means that we count every game all the way to the Super Bowl. If you're an MVP who has so many VAS points, and let's say you lose in the divisional round or the championship game, and you don't make it to the Super Bowl, you could be so far ahead in points that it doesn't make a difference. Like the person who is right with you can't really overcome what you've done. I think last year is probably a good instance of that. I'm sorry, 2 years ago was probably a good instance of that with Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes probably would have won our MVP because he had gone so far ahead, even though he lost in the AFC Championship game. So it doesn't mean that's automatic like that, but they do count. So our formula doesn't end until after the Super Bowl. But I don't know. I'm not really a big fan of the MVP anymore, the regular NFL MVP, because it seems like it's just a media talent show, like popularity contest kind of thing. It's always the same people normally, unless you're just an outlier, unless you've done so well. But I think there are some guys that are not getting looked at, especially one in particular that people are not paying attention to. No, I'm not talking about Tom, but there's just an interesting thing developing in the formula that I see coming now. Right now, Patrick Mahomes is leading our formula right now, but I have not put in week 17 stats, so he might drop a little because he didn't play today. However, just to let you guys know, because you've got two quarterbacks who have a bye, So you've got, let's say, Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes will not play this weekend. Their points will be a average of their points for the whole season. So I would take every game that they played in, let's say, in completions. So all their completions, win-loss completions, because when your completion in a win and a completion in a loss, you get a different amount of points for that. It's different. But I will take Patrick Mahomes, all of his completions for the year, average that out, and that's what he'll get assigned for week one, week one of the playoffs, because he wasn't there, and that's how it works. So it's pretty interesting. Yeah, right now it's most outstanding player, most flashy player. Well, our award is based on it's the supreme ruler, supreme quarterback. Who is the guy who is done the most, and that, it works itself out because we look at every possible thing you can imagine. We assign points to everything you could think of. So even coaching applies. So, but then it's all about giving each category a certain weight. How many points do you assign for passing yards versus touchdown passes versus coaching versus salary cap, and so on and so forth. Like, you've got to find what's more relevant than the other and what deserves more points than the other. Rafael Hagoy says a $2 super chat. He says State Farm Bowl. Oh my God, it's looking like that, right? God, I hope not. Could you imagine having to listen to the media for 2 weeks between the championship game and the Super Bowl if it's Rodgers versus Mahomes? I mean, that they're going to have to make all sports media for those 2 weeks X-rated so kids aren't watching because of all the you-know-what going on. Yeah, it'd be torture. See it twice. You like movie quotes. See it twice says Aaron Rodgers does deserve the MVP. He's going to win. Deserve ain't got nothing to do with it. All right, so guys, please pay attention to the community tab, and very good, Daniel. I'm forgiven. That's right. Please pay attention to the community tab on YouTube and the Facebook page and Twitter. All three of those, I will post the schedule that I'm referring to, so everybody will know what's going on. And look for that sometime, probably late tomorrow. So. For now, I'm gonna go, but we have some exciting stuff coming. So I'll talk to you guys soon, okay? And thank you for being here tonight. I really appreciate it. I know I didn't schedule it, so it was just kind of a off the cuff thing. But thanks a lot, guys, and you have a good night. See y'all soon.